You open a video that promises exactly the answer you need. 5 minutes later, your thumb is already searching for something else. Later, you launch a game you were excited to play. Before the story reaches its middle, another game suddenly looks better. The next morning, a new task replaces the unfinished one on your desk. Different activities keep producing the same strangely familiar ending. You clearly know how to begin. The problem appears after the beginning. You are not simply lazy, careless, or incapable of commitment. Your brain is weighing immediate reward against delayed satisfaction. Beginnings are unusually generous with immediate reward. Endings are often quiet, difficult, and delayed. At the beginning, the future still contains every possible success. The first minutes are filled with discovery and rapid feedback. Progress is easy to see. No mistakes have accumulated yet. The fantasy of the perfect outcome remains intact. Novelty wakes attention because the brain has new information to process. Anticipation can feel rewarding before anything meaningful is completed. But every activity eventually enters a middle. The middle contains fewer surprises. Progress becomes harder to notice. Easy decisions turn into detailed work. The initial excitement stops carrying the experience forward. Continuation now depends on patience rather than momentum. Finishing requires tolerating an ordinary stretch where effort exceeds excitement. This is where the mind begins looking toward a new beginning. The current activity may not have become objectively worse. The comparison around it has changed. Your real task now competes with several imaginary alternatives. An unopened video contains the perfect answer. An unplayed game contains the perfect adventure. A blank project contains the perfect result. The new option carries none of the friction of reality. It contains no repetition. It contains no confusion. It contains no evidence of failure. It contains only possibility. Switching, therefore, creates a small wave of relief. That relief is easy to mistake for genuine preference. You think you discovered a better choice. Often, you merely escaped the middle of the previous one. Videos make this pattern especially visible. A title promises an answer to one precise question. The opening presents the strongest mystery and the clearest stakes. The first examples feel fresh. Then the explanation naturally slows down. A familiar point appears. The progress bar shows that several minutes remain. At the same moment, recommendations surround the player. Every thumbnail offers a new question without demanding patience yet. The current video asks you to continue. The next video asks you only to click. The brain compares effort now with curiosity now. The click often wins before a conscious decision is made. Sometimes the video keeps playing while you begin scrolling. Attention divides between two streams. Weaker attention produces weaker comprehension. Poor comprehension makes the content feel boring. That boredom seems to confirm the original impulse to leave. Repeated switching trains an increasingly short waiting window. This does not prove that your attention is permanently broken. It shows that the environment repeatedly rewards interruption. Opening a video simply feels more vivid than finishing one. Games follow the same pattern on a larger scale. The first hours are usually generous. A new world unfolds in every direction. Mechanics are introduced one at a time. Rewards arrive frequently. Almost every choice seems transformative. You imagine the powerful character you might eventually build. Later, the map becomes familiar. Levels arrive more slowly. Objectives begin to repeat. The story requires you to remember earlier details. The game stops introducing itself. It asks you to deepen skills you already possess. Mastery is quieter than discovery. Then another release appears in your library. A fresh save promises a clean new identity. There is no imperfect build, missed quest, or confusing inventory yet. Abandoning the current game immediately removes those burdens. Starting a new one restores the feeling of possibility. Your library slowly becomes a museum of first chapters. Taking a break also creates a re-entry cost. The controls become harder to remember. The plot turns blurry. The inventory begins to look like someone else's desk. Restarting can feel easier than reconstructing the past. But restarting repeats only the most rewarding beginning. It prevents you from practicing the less exciting skill of continuation. Tasks and personal projects follow the same architecture. A new plan creates an instant feeling of clarity. A clean notebook looks like a clean future. The first checklist is satisfying to complete. Early work produces visible change. Later work becomes more ambiguous. A draft must be revised rather than imagined. Code must be debugged rather than planned. A room may look worse before it becomes organized. A skill must be practiced after novelty disappears. The middle exposes a gap between intention and ability. Your imagined quality meets your current work. That gap can feel like failure. It feels especially threatening when perfectionism is involved. Unfinished work can still remain perfect in your imagination. Finished work can be judged. Leaving a project open preserves every possible version of it. Completion closes alternatives. It requires deciding that one imperfect version is good enough. We often call this avoidance procrastination, but delay is frequently a form of emotional regulation. You are escaping boredom, confusion, doubt, or possible disappointment. Switching provides immediate relief from those feelings. The relief reinforces the switching habit. Eventually, unfinished loops accumulate everywhere. Each one consumes background attention and produces a little guilt. You begin misreading a repeated behavior as your personality. The identity of someone who never finishes starts to feel permanent. But all three domains are running a similar mechanism. Beginnings provide novelty, certainty, and possibility. Middles provide repetition, ambiguity, and honest feedback. Endings require a form of sacrifice. One path must be chosen, other possibilities must be released. Imperfections must be accepted. You must remain after excitement fades. Completion is often less emotional than anticipation. That is why motivation alone is unreliable. You need structure that can survive a changing mood. It also helps to remember that unfinished things are not equal. Some projects genuinely deserve to be abandoned. The real problem is drifting away without making a decision. Conscious quitting closes a mental loop. Automatic switching keeps the loop alive. The solution is not forcing yourself to finish everything. First, make the next finish smaller. Do not finish the entire game. Finish the next meaningful quest. Do not finish the entire video. Reach the end of the current chapter without opening another tab. Do not complete the entire project today. Define one visible endpoint. Smaller endings create the feedback that long middles often lack. Second, remove nearby beginnings. Close the recommendation panel when possible. Hide uninstalled games from the library view. Capture new project ideas somewhere outside the current workspace. You are not banning novelty forever. You are delaying access to it during the vulnerable middle. Third, create a re-entry note. Before stopping, write the exact next action in plain language. In a game, record your location, objective, and essential controls. In a task, leave the needed file and materials ready. Reducing the cost of returning makes restarting less attractive. Fourth, expect the middle dip instead of treating it as a surprise. Boredom is a feeling, not a command. Confusion is not proof that you chose the wrong thing. Changing motivation is a normal part of longer activities. Use a 10-minute return rule when the urge to switch appears. Stay with the current activity for 10 focused minutes. After 10 minutes, decide again. This separates temporary discomfort from a genuine mismatch. Fifth, make endings visible. Check the box, archive the file, or stay for the credits. A visible ending gives completion enough psychological weight to compete with novelty. Ask yourself whether this is the wrong thing or merely the unexciting middle. The honest answer may still be to stop, but make stopping a decision rather than a reflex. Attention is trained through repeated returns. A finished video becomes an idea you actually understood. A finished game becomes a complete memory. And a finished task becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. These outcomes gradually change how you see the next beginning. You start with evidence that you can survive the middle. The goal is not to eliminate curiosity or excitement. Those feelings are valuable, but they are designed to fluctuate. The goal is to stop treating every drop as an emergency. A quiet middle can still lead somewhere worth reaching. Sometimes satisfaction waits just beyond the point where novelty ends. Finishing teaches the brain that patience can produce its own reward. That lesson grows each time you deliberately complete a small loop. You do not need to finish your whole life today. The next thing you finish could simply be this video.